the impact it'll have on him, having a father in prison.
I don't think it'll have any impact whatsoever.
Bambi.
Long ago, Bambi symbolized an innocent, peaceful childhood. But now it returns in the shape of a nightmare. After the tragic deaths of his mother and his mate, Feline, a poisoned river transforms Bambi into a bloodthirsty creature. In the shadowy depths of the forest, he is no longer a small fawn but a predator, spreading terror to anyone who dares to enter. A family is unwittingly drawn into his deranged vendetta, and from there, a life-or-death chase begins. Can they escape the fury of the creature called Bambi? Watch the full film with Movie Recaps Official to see how the story unfolds. In a vast forest, a young fawn named Bambi walks beside his mother. Suddenly, a hunter appears in the distance. He quickly chambers around and fires straight at the pair. Witnessing his mother gunned down, Bambi panics and decides to flee. Despite facing many hardships and countless predators scattered throughout the woods, Bambi struggles to survive and grows into an adult deer. He even finds a lifelong mate named Feline. After the birth of their fawn, the pair continue their lives in happiness. Over time, human activity around the forest makes their existence increasingly difficult. While running along a trail, Bambi sees Feline struck by a car. Before he can react, a man attacks him with a shovel. The man then dumps a container of radioactive liquid into the river that runs through the forest and leaves. Hours later, Bambi awakens to find Feline lifeless, and worse, their fawn has vanished without a trace. He goes to the river to drink, trying to recover from his injuries. However, the radioactive water affects him, driving the animal into a horrific transformation. Cut to Tyler practicing marksmanship with his teammates, Michael and Eddie. They are training for an upcoming deer hunt. Elsewhere, Xena and her son, Benji, are preparing to set off for his grandmother's house. Xena is upset that her husband will once again be absent, busy with work, when they arrive. Even so, mother and son decide to go. During the trip, Benji gets carsick from playing games, and the driver quickly pulls over so he can rest. The boy asks why his mother sounded angry on the phone with his father. He wonders if his mother will be sent away, realizing his parents are no longer together. Xena reassures him that will not happen and says his father will meet him at his grandmother's. Relieved, Benji brightens, and they resume their journey. Before getting back in the car, he notices a small animal's carcass nearby and begins to hear strange growls coming from the forest. Even so, he returns to the vehicle and they drive on. On the road, the driver rummages in the glove compartment for some candy and stops paying attention. Suddenly, a massive deer appears ahead. He swerves to avoid it, but the creature rams the car with its antlers, sending the vehicle crashing and rolling into the forest. Xena and Benji struggle to escape from the overturned car, but the creature looms outside the window. It stamps repeatedly on the vehicle, severely injuring the driver. Xena screams for her son to crawl out with her, and while the creature is distracted, they bolt into the trees. Bambi climbs onto the car and uses his weight to crush it, killing the driver on the spot. Face to face with the horrifying creature, Xena and Benji can do nothing but run for their lives. Nearby, Benji's grandmother, Mary, whispers the name Bambi as she stares from her backyard toward the forest. At the same time, Harriet is talking with her husband, Andrew, and begins to wonder why Xena is taking so long. She then notices her mother-in-law standing outside in the yard. After guiding Grandma Mary back inside, Harriet scolds Harrison for failing to keep an eye on her. Harrison, indifferent to the family, retorts that Harriet is only his foster mother and has no right to give him orders. At the same time, Mary senses that something strange is approaching. Just then, Xena and Benji make it back to the house. Harriet steps outside, hinting that the two have arrived late. Xena recounts everything that happened, explaining they had to leave the driver behind to save their own lives. Unluckily, there is no mobile signal in the area to call the police. Josh tries to calm everyone and decides to go back to check whether the driver is still alive. Benji has also been injured while fleeing. Meanwhile, the hunting party is on the phone with their boss, reporting that they still haven't found the deer, which infuriates him. Halfway down the road, however, they come across the wrecked car that Bambi attacked. While inspecting it, the hunters find Xena's mobile phone inside and realize the group was attacked by the very creature they are seeking. Moments later, a roar echoes from deep within the dark forest. The men head into the trees to track the source of the sound. Back at the house, Mary is sketching multiple images of a demonic Bambi in a notebook. The scratch of her pencil irritates Harrison, who is lying nearby. He picks up a pillow and throws it toward his grandmother. Seeing this, Xena warns him not to treat his grandmother that way, but Harrison only smirks, insolent as ever. Xena then resumes tending to Benji's wounds, picking shards of glass from his foot. Josh keeps trying to find a mobile signal to call the police. Patrolling alone, Tyler suddenly hears a noise and fires in that direction. The bullet strikes Josh in the head, killing him instantly. Realizing a teammate has accidentally killed someone, Michael erupts, slamming Tyler against a tree and warning him not to make another mistake. He then orders both men to load Josh's body onto the truck. Elsewhere, Mary begins to feel that something is terribly wrong. She walks to the window and notices the garden lights flickering on and off. At the same time, Benji picks up her drawings and starts leafing through them. Puzzled by Mary's odd behavior, he moves to the window to ask if she is all right. Suddenly, a bird slams into the living room window. Immediately afterward, Benji spots a massive deer standing in the dark yard and screams for his mother. Realizing Bambi has arrived, Xena pulls her son and Mary deeper into the house as the creature relentlessly smashes through the home to get at them. In the kitchen, Andrew's family hears the commotion. In the darkness, Bambi's face slowly emerges. The three of them duck behind the cabinets. When Harriet glances back, the creature is gone, and she exhales in relief, thinking it has left. She doesn't realize it is perched above her, staring down. Harriet bolts, racing into the bathroom and locking the door, but Bambi keeps battering it with his hooves. The door soon gives way. Harriet screams and tries to wriggle out through the window. Meanwhile, the rest of the family manages to escape the house and pile into the car. They quickly realize Harriet is missing. Just then, her figure appears in the distance, with the monstrous Bambi charging after her. Before she can reach the vehicle, Bambi's antlers drive straight through her, tearing her apart. The sight throws everyone into panic. Andrew floors the accelerator to escape, but Bambi gives chase, thundering after the car. During the pursuit, Harrison hurls objects from the back seat to distract the beast, but it refuses to give up and only accelerates. Moments later, the car is rammed hard from the side. Andrew fights the wheel to keep it from flipping. At last, the five of them manage to shake off the monstrous Bambi. By this time, the hunting party has reached Andrew's house. Inside, everything is in disarray, and they notice Mary's drawings of the deer. Out back, they find Harriet's body, and realize she is still alive. Michael pulls out a knife and ends her life. Meanwhile, the car hasn't gone far when a fallen tree blocks the road. The adults get out to figure out how to proceed, then decide to tie a rope around the trunk and use the car to pull it clear. The three adults will lift to help free the roots, while Benji will press the accelerator to drag the tree. Though the boy is anxious and doesn't know how to drive, Xena reassures him he can do it. Before they can act, Bambi appears in the distance and charges. Panicking, Benji stomps on the gas. Unluckily, Andrew's foot is tangled in the rope. He is dragged at high speed, his face and body slamming across the ground. Harrison screams in despair and runs after him, trying to help in vain. Unaware of what they are doing to Andrew, Benji and Xena keep accelerating. Left behind and terrified, Harrison sees the deer circling back and bolts into the forest. While fleeing, he stumbles and falls face first into a pile of dung. The stench masks his scent, and Bambi moves off. The car soon runs out of fuel and lurches to a stop. Checking the rearview mirror, Xena sees a body caught on the rope. She gets out and discovers it is Andrew, his face no longer recognizable. Worried, Benji runs up and asks if Uncle Andrew is going to be okay. Before Xena can answer, she realizes Grandma Mary has slipped out of the car. Benji starts to call out, but Xena quickly covers his mouth to avoid drawing Bambi's attention. Moments later, they spot Mary heading deeper into the woods and hurry after her. Elsewhere, Harrison is still trying to find a mobile signal to call the police. A sudden noise nearby frightens him. It's only a white rabbit emerging from under a log. It inches closer. Irritated and on edge, Harrison kicks the rabbit away without a thought. The act seals his fate. In an instant, he is surrounded by dozens of other rabbits, each as unsettling as Bambi. Regretting what is done, Harrison backs away, apologizing. He trips and falls. His head snaps into a bear trap. Clamped tight, he screams in agony as the rabbits close in and begin to gnaw at him. A hidden trail camera in the forest quietly records everything. Back with Xena, she notices that Mary seems unwell and tells Benji to stay put. Xena approaches gently, trying to calm her, saying everyone is worried about her health. But Mary cannot speak coherently. She only repeats the same word, death. At that moment, Benji suddenly lights a flare. Startled, Xena rushes over to snatch it away, but the boy insists he just saw something nearby. Before she can extinguish the flame, Xena realizes something is wrong. Looking around, she sees they are standing inside a nest, a place where Bambi has left hundreds of bones scattered across the ground. Mary begins to hum softly in fear. Sensing danger, Xena urges her to be quiet. Suddenly, all three hear Bambi's growl drawing closer. Spotting the creature in the distance, Xena tells Benji to run and helps Mary duck under a fallen tree, narrowly avoiding the charge. They sprint and make it to the road, where, luckily, they encounter three hunters, unaware that this same group has accidentally killed Josh. Afterward, Xena tries to persuade Michael to look for Harrison and Josh. Michael says the best option now is to take everyone home to ensure safety and call the police using a satellite phone. On the way back, Tyler tosses a dead bird onto the road. They finally reach the house. Just then, Michael hears a noise inside and draws his gun, only to discover it's their boss. To their shock, it's Simon, Benji's father, and Zena's husband. Benji is overjoyed and runs to hug him, while Zena is stunned to see her husband entangled in all of this. When Simon learns that Andrew and Harriet are dead and that Josh and Harrison are missing, he becomes furious. He reminds Zena that he told her not to bring their son here, yet she did it anyway. Zena argues that Benji misses and needs his father, while Simon has shown no interest in seeing his own child. Realizing he is being treated like a burden, Benji storms outside and vents his anger on whatever he can find. At that moment, he hears an animal cry and goes to investigate. Meanwhile, Simon explains he hired the hunters to eliminate the monstrous Bambi because it mutated after exposure to toxic waste his company dumped into the river. Outraged, Zena insists they must contact the police and heads to the communications room to take the hunter's radio. Michael stops her at gunpoint, saying Simon won't shoot her, but he will. With no choice, Zena sets the radio back on the table. Looking at the surveillance monitors, she sees Simon's team has been slaughtering other animals contaminated by the radioactive toxin. Michael admits that everything they're doing is just covering up the consequences of Simon's actions. Zena realizes Simon knew about all of this from the start and never called the police, putting them all in danger. No longer trusting these cruel men, Zena decides to leave. In the living room, she and Simon notice that Benji has vanished. Zena goes outside to search around the property. Lifting atop, she finds Harrison's and Josh's bodies hidden underneath. Outside, Benji spots Eddie and Tyler hauling a deer trapped in a steel cage. He quietly follows to see what they plan to do. Tyler asks whether this is really necessary, but Eddie replies that animals have no feelings and starts kicking the cage, yelling at the fawn to be quiet. Tyler then says he needs to use the bathroom and wanders into the darkness. Before he can finish, he hears a sound in the woods. He shines his flashlight. Bambi lunges out and decapitates him with a single blow. When Tyler takes too long, Eddie goes to look for him. As he approaches, he discovers Tyler's corpse and vomits at the sight. Moments later, Bambi emerges from the night, and Eddie panics, sprinting back to the truck. In the control room, Michael and the assistant spot Benji freeing the fawn from the cage. Enraged, Michael grabs a gun, determined to kill the boy. Inside the truck, Eddie holds his breath, hoping not to be found. Bambi still detects him and, shockingly, uses its mouth to wrench the door open. It savages Eddie's legs, leaving him in agony. Eddie crawls out of the vehicle, trying to escape. The creature steps onto his body, then rips off his head with its jaws. Deeper in the forest, Benji hears Zena calling and tries to find her. At the same time, Michael reaches the trap site and radios the assistant to ask for Benji's location. But Bambi has already entered the house, forcing the assistant to take a gun and hide. Seeing Mary still sitting there, the creature moves in. Just as it is about to swallow her whole, it hears the assistant slam a door. Thinking Bambi has left, she presses her ear to the door to listen, only for Bambi to charge through, splintering it and sending her into a panic. She fires repeatedly, but the bullets have no effect. Realizing there is no way out, she shoots the gas cylinders, triggering a massive explosion that obliterates everything around her. At this point, Michael has found Benji, and the boy's parents appear moments later. Michael demands that Benji hand over the fawn. Simon gently urges Benji to give it to him, but Benji firmly refuses. Suddenly, the group sees Bambi in the distance, half of his body charred from the explosion yet still alive. Michael tries to shoot him, but Bambi quickly gores and drags him away as Michael screams. Spotting a phone on the ground, Zena and Simon both rush to grab it. After a brief struggle, Simon seizes the phone, declaring he won't let Zena ruin his life. Then both notice Bambi turning back and advancing toward Benji. Seeing his son in danger, Simon cowardly runs off, taking the phone with him. Zena, by contrast, stays, determined to save her child. When she notices a fawn behind Benji, Zena realizes it is Bambi's offspring. She slowly approaches, gently lifts the young deer, and holds it up to Bambi. The creature abandons his attack and softens at the sight of his child. Seizing the moment, Zena quietly leads Benji away before Bambi can change his mind. As Bambi nuzzles the fawn, a burst of gunfire riddles his body, knocking him down. It's Michael, still alive after being gored. Zena screams for him to stop, but it's too late. An instant later, Grandma Mary appears and shoots Michael dead with a shotgun. Strangely, she has survived the blast unscathed, and she is no longer confused or mixing up Benji's name. The boy throws his arms around her, relieved that all three have survived the ordeal. Meanwhile, Simon tries to flee back to his truck, unaware that the rabbits have already crawled inside. They lunge at him, tear into his neck, and kill him. In the end, the The three watch Bambi take his final breaths, gazing at his child one last time before closing his eyes. That's where the film ends. What did you think of it? Leave a positive comment below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.